Okay, here we go. Picking up in chapter 27. Postremo, finally, ubi, when, multa, many. Adjutanti nihil proceeded. So when many things proceeded, we'll take that as succeeded. We'll just change the front bit. Nothing. So when to the many things, nothing turned out successful to these. It was the dative present participle to these actions, these agitations. Rosus again in tempesta nocte. That's ablative, means in the dead of night. Coniurationis, genitive, principes, the leaders, convocat per M. Porcius Lacer. So that whole little section so far of 27.3 goes, finally, when these many things had, nothing had turned out successful to these things, again in the dead of night, he called together the leaders of the conspiracy through M. Porcius Lacer. He convocated, he called them together through this guy. Ibiqui in there, Malta, many things again, Ignavia, Eorum, we've got the ablative because of the day. Questus means he complained. So there he complained about Malta, many things concerning the cowardice of them or their slothfulness. It's probably their slothfulness or their idleness. Docet, he taught them or instructed them, say Manlium Premisi, that say himself had premisse, had sent ahead Manlius to ad em multitude, to the multitude, quam which, again, this is a lot of people, but it's written down as a single, which is what takes quam singular, to capionda arma paraverat. So he had prepared these people, this multitude, ad capienda armas, to taking up arms, the gerundive version of it. Item, adverb. Likewise, alios in alia loca opportuna. So here we have other people were in alia. It means other places, and these other places are opportune locas, opportune places. So likewise, he had other people in other opportune places, or places where there was a good opportunity for them to carry out his plans. Qui, who, initium belli facerent. It's plural, they, this qui here, they would make the initium belli, the beginning of the war, or the initial action of the war. Say, qui, and himself, he's say, he cuperade profisca. He desired, taking the infinitive, to set out ad exercitum, to the army. See Prius, if prior, Ciceronam oppresset, if Cicero was crushed. Eum suis concilium multum officere. I guess this eum here would be Cicero. Officere can take the dative. Normally it just means blocking or something. Yep, I might make a daily dictionary word out of it. Okay, so officere, I've set up here. Obstruct or hinder normally, but we've got I am detrimental or hurtful to plus the dative. So he's detrimental. So eum Cicero officere, he was detrimental, multum, very detrimental, to suis conciliis, his plans. 28. Therefore, per territus indubantibus ceteris, so the rest of the people were very terrified. Remember, per means very or thoroughly terrified, and dubantibus means they're doubting or hesitant. We have C. Cornelius equis Romanus. This is an apposition. So, Gaius Cornelius, a Roman knight, he has Polycatus, another supine form. So he'd promised operem suum, his efforts or his work, and cum, and with him, now Cornelius has gone into the ablative in that cum, and it looks like L. Vargentius Senator has become the new nominative. So, and with him, L. Vargentius the Senator, constituture, that's the shortened form of they decided, ea nocte, that night, Paulo post, a little after, cum armatus hominibus, with armed men, that bit there, sicuti, just as if, introri salutum, as if going in to greet him, ad Ciceronam, they would go to Caesar, Cicero, and de improvisio, with him not expecting it was improviso, suo domi, locative, at his house, imperatum, this is Cicero's imperatum, he's not prepared, and it was unforeseen with the de improviso, and they would confodere him, which meant they would stab him. It literally means to dig through him. It's what would be a Latin story without someone getting stabbed. These days, they'd probably at least let you know they're going to stab you. They'd yell Allahu Akbar or something at you before they stab you. Curious, ubi intellegit, when he understood quantum periculum, how much danger impendiat to the consoli, which is dative, was impending for the consul. Properere, he hastily, per Fulvia, through Fulvius, the dolum, which is the trick or the deception. And we had the consoli here is in dative, and Cicero was in the dative. Qui, what was preparabato, the thing which was prepared for him. If you take this little clause out, because it's so short, and read it, hastily through Fulvia, he enunciated this trick to Cicero. Qui paradabato, what was prepared. Ita, thus, Ili genua prohibiti. Okay, we've got the supine form again here. The I here shows it's plural. And so thus those were prohibited from the genua, from the door. So they were prohibited from going into the door, or they couldn't get access. Tantum, such was facinus, the crime, which susceperet, which they had taken up, again it's plural, and it was frustra, in vain. So these people who were sent, they couldn't get in, and it was done in vain. And we'll scroll a little bit. Interior. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Manlius in Eritrea was in Eritrea, sollicitaring the plebs, soliciting the plebs, gestate by their poverty, simul at the same time, and dolor, their grievance, inuria of injustices. So in the poverty at the same time of in the grievances of these unjust or injuries, the plebem were cupidem. They were desiring novarum rerum, which is a revolution, desirous of a revolution. Quod, because sulla domination, in the domination, or in the, what do you call that in English? In the domination of Sulla, when he was dominant, what do you call it? Blah, 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 blah. I'll check out the low bit. Domination, yeah, okay. Is what they call it? Yeah, because in the domination of Sulla, the agros and bona omnes emisserat. They had lost, emiserated all their fields and goods. That's their property. Same thing in English, their goods are the things you own. Praeteria, and besides that, latrones, or bandits, cuis qui generis, of all types of genus, races or types, quorum of which in that region, there were a magna copious, there was a copious amount of them, nonnullus, which means some, ex collinus salanus. Again, when you make these adjectives, they put ends in there. So from colonies of Sulla, that means you've settled people from his own army or group there. Quibus, by which in libido and luxuria, this is a lustfulness and luxuries of life, from their magnus rapinus, from the great things they had seized or stolen, nil hil requi fecerat. They had nothing reliquy left. Ea cum Cicerone nuntia rentor. So these things, ea, when they were announced dative to Cicero, the Cicero, and scipitat malo pomotus. He was very moved, pomotus, by this trouble or evil, and he was two-headed or two minds about it, which is what this means. Quod, because nequi, neither in the urbum, the city, ab insidus, from the traps or plottings or the treacheries, privato concilio and blatives, so he's a private citizen, and so his plans, he couldn't, the city, longius tui potere, so he wasn't able to to safeguard the city from these plots as a private citizen, longius, any further. Nequi the exercitus manly quantus, neither quantus, how much of an exercitus, how much of an army there was of Manlius, who was mentioned up here, or quo concilio, by what plan or counsel for it there would be satis compertum habet. So we didn't have enough. He didn't have satis compertum. He hadn't discovered enough of their plan or how quantus, how big the army was. So the rem ad senatum referred. So he referred the rem, the matter, to the Senate. Yam. Already, antea, before this, vulgi rumoribus so this is like Pomotus, exagitated. So the people have been agitated, or the commonplace rumours going around. The common people are the vulgi, and rumours are pretty much the same in English as in Latin. Itaque, and so, quod, which or because, plerum qui generally, it looks like, which generally in atroci negoti solet, so what's accustomed to happen in these atrocious business, or this in's taking the ablative, or in these atrocious times of trouble, you know what atrocious means, the senatus decrevid, the senatus decreed, darent operem consuls. The consuls were to give their operem, their work, their attention, or their efforts, ne quid, that not anything res publica detrimenti caperet. So the res publica should not take, caperet, any detriment or damage. Ea potestas, this power, per the senatum, through the Senate, in more Romano, in the Roman custom, magistratui maxima permitted, is the greatest power permitted to a magistrate. Magistratus is a fourth. To prepare, we're going into his land of infinitives now. Prepare the army, gerere the bellum, wage the war, coerce omnibus modus, to coerce in all ways, the socius and the civis, this is the allies and the citizenry, of the city, of the state. Domi militaeque imperium, so we'd have the imperium, the power, at home and on military campaigns, and judicium, his judgment, habre, would have the summum, the supreme judgment, or it would all be done according to his, the way he sets things out. Aliter, differently, sine populi, you'll say, without the order of the people, populi is the people, of the people, so differently, without the order of the power, nullius rerum. So none of these things, nullius is a naughty nine pronominal, none of these things could be done differently without the order of the populace, to a consul ius. None of this right was to a consul, differently without having the order, an order of the people, their permission basically. So this was this potestas that was given to him through the Senate in the More Romano. That's it for the day.